Hey everybody, welcome to Smoky Mountain Echo. I'm your host, Dylan Huffman, and this is a podcast where we talk about the stories, services, and people that make Haywood County a very special place. Today's episode is all about Earth Day, a time to think about how we care for the place we call home. From our mountains and rivers to our neighborhoods and communities, protecting our environment starts right here at the local level. Earth Day is coming up next month. It is Wednesday, April 22nd. On this month's podcast, we're going to be talking about something simple that makes a very big difference: recycling in Haywood County. What you can recycle, what actually happens to those materials, and how small actions can have a lasting impact. We're going to be talking to Sammy Jo Franklin from our Haywood County Solid Waste Department. So tell us a little bit about what Earth Day means kind of on a personal level to you, and why is Earth Day something that still matters today?
Well, on a personal level, it's really just a reminder to look at what I'm doing and what I could be doing. Not necessarily like I'm not doing enough, but an awareness that what I do does matter and that it all adds up. And if anything, it matters more. The need for the literal global awareness is strong as our planet grows and changes. We all need to do our part, even a small part, to help protect the planet.
So speaking of growing and changing, let's talk a little bit about how the idea of Earth Day has changed since it first was started.
Well, when Earth Day first started back in 1970, it was more about cleaning up the obvious environmental damage, basically stop damaging the planet. To nowadays, it's more about redesigning how we live on the planet. While a lot of these issues are still visible, they're way more complex than they used to be. And we're also trying to focus more on a year-round philosophy, not just one day a year. You know, we've all seen it. Make every day Earth Day. Earth Day hasn't lost its original purpose. It's just grown to match the scale of the challenges that we face today.
Tell us a little bit about why you think that our local communities and local communities around the country, like Haywood County, should care about something like Earth Day.
Well, that's a great question. For a place like Haywood County, Earth Day isn't just a global idea. It's very local and even very practical. It connects directly to the things that people here rely on every day: our land, water, economy, and our community's identity.
For folks who may not know, can you tell us what recycling services are available here in our county?
So here in Haywood County, folks actually have a few really convenient options for recycling. We've got 10 convenience centers throughout the county where you can drop off your recyclables, things like cardboard, cans, plastics, and glass. And if you live in town limits, there's also curbside recycling pickup. So you can just put it out with your regular collection. And then there's a transfer station over on Jones Cove Road in Clyde. And that's also where you can take things like electronics, batteries, and other special items. So really, whether you prefer drop-off or curbside, there are options for pretty much everyone.
What are some of the most common items that you would say people recycle the right way? And are there any items that people get wrong when it comes to recycling?
So most people actually get the basics right. The most commonly recycled items are things like cardboard boxes, aluminum cans, plastic bottles, and paper. And those are the easy wins, and people are pretty good about those. Where folks tend to get tripped up is with the wishful recycling. That's when you hope something's recyclable, so you just toss it in. But in actuality, it is not. Some of the biggest mistakes are plastic bags, because they jam up the machines, greasy pizza boxes, styrofoam, and large rigid plastic items like your laundry baskets and patio furniture. So the rule of thumb is, when in doubt, throw it out.
What actually happens to those items that people recycle when they drop it off?
That's a great question. And honestly, a lot of people don't realize there's a whole process after you drop it off. So once you put your recycling in either the bin or you take it to the convenience center, it gets transported to our transfer station where we load full tractor trailers and send those to curbside management in North Asheville. From there, everything goes through a mix of machines and hand sorting. Magnets pull out metals like steel, air jets and screens separate paper from the heavier items. Optical scanners sort different types of plastics, and then there's workers that help remove anything that doesn't belong. Once it's all sorted, the materials are compacted into large bales like a big cube of cardboard, aluminum, or plastic, and those bales are then sold and shipped to companies that turn them into new products.
Are there certain materials that are especially important for people to recycle right now?
Yes, one of the biggest things right now that we're talking about is lithium ion batteries. There's actually a ban that's going into effect as of December 1st of this year. So they should never go in your regular trash or recycling. Things like phones, laptops, power tools, and even some toys have these type of batteries. And if they're thrown away wrong, they can cause fires at our facilities. So our big thing we're pushing right now is to keep the batteries out of your bins and take them down to our transfer station on Jones Cove for proper disposal.
If you could narrow it down, can you kind of maybe name one recycling mistake that you see all the time that you wish that people maybe weren't doing?
Yes. So my big one that I see is bagging your recyclables. Um, we see it all the time, and people will put their recycling into a plastic bag and just toss it in. But then at the facility, the workers can't open those bags for safety reasons, and the machines can't either. So it often just gets pulled out and thrown away. So the best thing you can do is to keep your recyclables loose in the bin. It makes sure that they actually all get sorted and recycled.
You mentioned styrofoam a second ago, but let's narrow on that a little specifically. Can styrofoam be recycled here in Haywood County?
So that's a great question that we get asked all the time. And it's one that a lot of people get wrong. Styrofoam is not accepted in regular recycling here in Haywood County, so it should never go in your bin or at a convenience center's recycling setup. So the best thing to do is keep styrofoam out of recycling and dispose of it properly.
When we talk about, when in doubt, keep it out, is it just a myth, or do people need to clean their items before recycling?
It's not a myth, but you don't need to scrub everything spotless either. Items should be empty and lightly rinsed, just enough to get the food and liquid out. If containers are really dirty, they can contaminate other recyclables and cause batches to get thrown away. So the rule we use is quick rinse, not perfection, clean enough so it's not gross, and you're good to go.
So, as we kind of bring our chat to a close here, how would you say that recycling benefits, Haywood County specifically?
Recycling really benefits Haywood County in a few different ways. First, it reduces how much waste goes into the landfill, which helps it last longer and saves residents money in the long run. It also protects our local environment, our rivers, our mountains, and our natural spaces by cutting down on pollution. And then there's an economic side to it too. Materials like cardboard and aluminum actually have a value, so recycling helps offset the cost and supports the local system. At the end of the day, it helps keep Haywood County cleaner, more sustainable, and more affordable for everyone.
Remember, taking care of our environment doesn't have to be complicated. Small, everyday choices like recycling correctly can make a real difference right here in Haywood County. As we approach Earth Day, take a moment to think about what you can do, whether it's learning about local recycling guidelines, reducing waste, or simply being more mindful of how you use your resources. If you'd like to learn more about recycling in Haywood County, you can visit our website, haywoodcountync.gov. We thank you so much for listening to this month's episode of Smoky Mountain Echo.